Call this meeting in order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Polly.
Present.
Trustee Lappin.
Excuse.
Clerk Flavich here. Treasurer Ellery Summers. Here. Trustee Cole.
Here.
Trustee Reiner.
Here.
Supervisor Skibby.
Here.
Steve's is off too, Steve. I mean.
Okay, moving forward, this is the, well, actually, there's a adoption of the agenda as presented. So if there's any corrections, substitutions, we have a motion on the table to approve the agenda as presented. Is there support? Support by trustee Polly. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of adoption of the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose the same. This is the first opportunity for public comment. If there's any public comment online or in person, please stand at the podium or raise your hand online so that we can address. Seeing no public comment on either form, moving forward to the consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be pulled for the consent agenda? Or otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
A motion on the table to approve the consent agenda. Is there support? Support. It's been moved and supported. Further discussion? Seeing none, actually, roll call please.
Clerk Flavich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Cole.
Yes.
Trustee Reiner.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward to new business. First is the Metro Act right-of-way permit extension. It's my recommendation. This came to the board. Just because it is a board decision to allow the utility right-of-way to have this extension of service. So it's my recommendation to approve the extension of the Metro Act right-of-way. Is there a motion to that effect?
What is this?
This is the same as DTE charter. Any principal utility company that operates within the road right of way has to seek municipal approval from any jurisdiction that they traverse. So
Who are they? Or
it
do they represent a big group or?
it could be a subsidiary of a conglomerate. It's a right of way permit that's been historically approved. It's just now an extension of years of service to approve that permit.
It's a 5-year extension from September of this year,
Correct.
September next.
So-
Motion, yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Motion.
We have a motion on the table to approve the permit extension. Is there support?
I support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion?
There's no money involved in this, is there?
No.
Qualities are just to
Not at all.
service our citizens for various
Correct.
utilities, correct?
Yep. Okay, with no further discussion, all those in favor of allowing the permit extension signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose the same. Motion approved. Next item of business is a quote from Alpina Glass Company. This is for the east facing, one of two windows on the east face of this building. On the DPW bays of 40 by 40 or 46 by 46 inch insulated glass. To the cost of complete installation of $588, being $88 over the threshold. I brought it to the board. This window's been cracked for some time. And the last time I took some recycling out, got the better of me. And at this point in time, I make a recommendation to move forward with the proposed quote before us of $588. And this would be utilizing 101-265-931. .000. That's building maintenance, which has allowable expenditure. So my recommendation to move forward with this quote.
So moved.
We have a motion on the table. Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion?
It's been broke since we've been here.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been quite some time.
It's kind of disgusting.
it is,
with all the dead bugs in
it's
it.
very gross.
So we'll get that one cleaned up.
You want to vote?
Yes, please.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
trustee Reiner,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Next, you have before you, budget adjustments. There was a correction, so apologize for that, but, the budget adjustments, presented are. One of the corrective actions was an ARPA transfer out, and transfer in. So with that being stated, I'd entertain a motion to approve the budget adjustments as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have support?
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Reiner,
Yes.
trustee Polly,
Yes.
clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Next item of business is a contract for an electrical inspector. It was brought to my attention that our current electrical inspector, Frank Rosinski, submitted his letter of resignation or retirement, depending on which side of that aisle you're on, but it is worked with him, Don Gilmet, Kevin Pauley, Montiel Birmingham from the city as well. And it is my recommendation. We actually had Tim go back through and create a very linear contract as we have with Kevin Pauley for said services. And it's my recommendation to bring Andy Rosnowski into that position. He has over 20 years of experience as a master electrician, and he's actually currently slated to be the city's electrical inspector, numerous other townships within the county, as well as, I believe, Montmorency County as a whole. So it's my recommendation to bring Andy Rosnowski in as what will become our new electrical inspector, effective April 1. He's actually going to be cross-training with Frank for overlap beginning the 18th. But he's a very nice young man, and I think he'll be serving our residents with proper response for years to come. So with that being stated, it's my recommendation to bring Andy Rosnowski in on as our electrical inspector.
So we're providing him coverage for errors and omissions, but he's providing coverage for what? I mean,
General liability.
damages to like.
Yeah,
Because.
General liability aspects. So this is the identical language that we use that was already legally approved and looked through for Kevin Paul. So Tim already went through because historically we did not have as sound of a contract with Mr. Rosinski. And so we had Tim kind of update this contract so that they are very linear. So.
I just want to provide him coverage for all the other places he's working, but.
No, every municipality, he's gonna have to file once this board approves the recommendation. He'll have to submit his insurance.
Certificate.
Certificates. Of
Right, but
insurance.
we're providing either coverage or payment for coverage, something it looks like, right? The first paragraph. Afforded coverage.
For wrongful acts or omissions under
Yeah.
the contract. But then his COI would be for the per occurrence aspect as we do with any of our subcontractors.
So that's a blanket policy we have is that he just comes under that,
Yeah,
nothing special.
no,
So how many, did we interview multiple people?
we actually had 3 candidates. 2 made it to the final round of interviews. And actually the second candidate that made it into the second round is actually going to be, if board supported, would be Andy Rosnowski's backup. So that we have good coverage, but that is a private contract between those 2 individuals.
Oh, so Andy's hiring it.
Andy will be hiring him. Yes, that is correct.
You need a motion? I'll
I
make the
would love
motion.
one.
I'll make the motion to approve that contract.
For a motion and support to move forward with Andy Rosnowski as our upcoming electrical inspector, moving forward
So will the contract be effective for 1?
for 1/2024.
Okay.
Yep, he's actually going to be working out the relations with the last aspects of Frank's so that there's no permits that fall through the cracks. He gets a little bit better lay of the land, sees what
But we're-
permits are open.
Yeah, I was gonna say there should probably some.
He's going to be
process,
starting
right? So-
effective the 18th. if board supported, to start going with write-arounds with Mr. Rose.
March 18th or February 18th?
February.
Okay,
But it's not under.
No, he and that therein, that would be Frank having a contract with him.
Right.
For what that looks like. He officially would be starting with us as a municipality provider, April 1 of 2010. So we have a motion and support on the table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
trustee Polly.
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Reiner.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward to new business number 5, I had Mr. Lytle and Doug Moen work on bringing forward some quotes for the Michigan lift station, the pump. We have 3 principal pumps in that lift station. One of actually the oldest pump ceased. And it is the recommendation, given the fact that that is the most critical part of our sewer infrastructure, to replace with like new. As we remember, actually, we replaced one of the pumps 2 years ago now. 2 years ago at a cost of just around 40 or 42,000 for all in. As you see, the costs have dramatically risen in 2 years. And it's my recommendation to move forward with the Detroit pump quote at $59,683.
Is that also the recommendation of FMU?
Yes, it is. Nathan Lytle, would you like to take the podium? That way, if there's any site-specific questions, you can
Do
answer.
we have a GL that we're paying this out of?
Yep, that would be, I forgot to write it down on my, it would be 592-537. Maintenance on system is 931,000. So,
931000.
yep, maintenance on system, adequate funds available.
Yeah, it would be FMV's recommendation to use Detroit pump to install and provide the new pump. That's gonna include the pump, the motor, and the stanchion that the pump sits in, as well as removal of the old pump.
The previously we worked with Curve, wasn't it?
Correct.
So.
Yeah.
They just
Oh,
put themselves out of the picture on this one. Or-
well, they did give us a quote as well, but they were quite a bit higher.
Yeah.
So,
You're satisfied that Detroit pump?
yeah, we've used them on different projects. FMV has, we've recently used them on our East Tawas project for some water treatment plant pumps. And they were very professional, did a very good job. And had a lot of just very good knowledge about what they're doing and the product. And we recently used them for purchasing another pump for our M32 and Bagley pump replacement. We just purchased the pump and installed it ourselves in that aspect, but very easy to work with, responsive to any questions.
What are the circumstances under which we install or you install and they do the installation? Is it different circumstances?
If it's easy access, we'll install it, or if it doesn't take more than 1 day, we could probably install it. Something like this, the Michigan lift station, the can itself is a fairly small can until you get down to it. So you need some specialized equipment that we currently do not have. We'd have to either rent a crane truck or have a tow truck come in to up and lower the lift, to pump himself down. And plus, if they install it, if there's any issues, we can throw it back on them.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Where is this located?
This is on Michigan Avenue in the Pad Court area of Alpena. Essentially behind the old Neiman's.
I think you took us there, didn't you?
Oh, I'm
Isn't
sure.
it
If not,
offensive?
I can show you the
think-
infrastructure road trip
I
again.
thought Nathan took
Yeah,
us.
that is.
You go down in the can?
No.
We didn't get that.
Yeah,
No,
that
he just took us around. and
is
showed
currently
us
our
that.
main lift station. It pumps around 200,000 gallons of sewage every
Okay.
day.
This is the last point of connection before we send our effluents onto the city through a 16-inch force main.
Correct.
So
I'll make the motion.
we have a motion on the table to move forward with the recommendation of Detroit Pump for the cost of $59,000. No, there was that.
$680.
$683 to utilize GL 592-537-931.000. Is there support to that?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion?
And that's 3 pumps, is that?
That's 3 pumps in that station.
Yes, we have currently 3 pumps in there. The first 2 pumps have already been replaced in the last.
Oh, so we're only replacing one.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Seeing no other discussion, roll call please.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Reiner.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward on to new business item 6 is a quote from 1010 Technologies for 2FA or two-factor authentication. This came up in response to a request through our insurances, but then also I'll let Michelle kind of have this
We'll
conversation.
tag
because-
team this one.
Yep.
When we put in the claim for the cyber liability, when we had all the issues with we have found out that in error, that part of our renewal was not ordered. So we technically did not have it. And we weren't charged for it, but they would go back and give it to us. But the new requirement for it is two-factor authentication to even get the coverage. So we got a price for it. It's $54 a month. And my thought is if we get this two-factor authentication, it gives us another layer of security. Do we need to spend, what was the quotes they like?
It was ungodly expensive to actually.
It's more than doubled from the year before.
Yeah. And so CISA and federal entities that are dealing with cybersecurity, it's been a new a newer topic, especially as of late since 2020. We've defined ourselves outside of having 2FA in place. Our cybersecurity is actually more comprehensive than some states, as we found out in a call with CISA
In 2020.
in 2020. And so at least Michelle and my position is, if this is a parameter of actually spending more money on insurance, what is insurance going to do that we haven't already covered ourselves in regards to the cyber liability? So it's our recommendation to move forward with the 2FA quote provided that covers all full-time employees plus I believe 4
Right,
principal paid
it's
on
done with
call
an
that
app
do.
on your phone.
Everybody will have an app, and that way, if you have to log in, it's just another layer of security.
This just affects you full-time folks, right?
And there's a few paid on call in the fire
Oh,
department.
okay.
that
Yeah,
have-
But it doesn't affect the trustees, their emails or any of that.
No,
No.
So is this when we log onto our computer?
yes.
It's like as if you would for
Huntington
Sigma
Bank.
or
Oh,
Huntington.
right.
Hey,
But
listen, I have
this
to
is
do it.
when-
If you can
Yeah.
give me my email and my
Through the Lansing
password,
News.
a new password set or
Yeah,
something.
no, I know what it is.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was when we logged on,
No,
that we would have to do it.
Yeah.
Put our.
Every
password
morning
in.
when you log
Right.
in, yes.
Got
Yep.
it. Yeah.
It's just another layer of
Yeah.
security.
Either
I'll
your
make a
face or
motion we approve
fingerprint.
that.
so it's either do this and pay $54 a month, do this and pay an egregious amount to have insurance that's already making you do it. So either way, it's a cost, but this actually will be the final comprehensive security measure that brings us up to all federal and international standards. So at $54, it's
A month.
cents on the dollar in comparison to the annual quote for the insurances.
Since Steve's not here, I won't tell you how much I love insurance.
Yep, we all do. We all do.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion on the table to move forward with the two-factor authentication quote provided by 1010 Technologies. Is there support?
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Trustee Kroll, Trustee Reiner.
Yes.
Trustee Foley,
Yes.
Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. Moving forward, since we like talking about insurance, the next quote is from Benjamin Builders. This is a quote to take care of all the internal work and damages that occurred from a water incident through the roof through Northside Fire Department. This is unfortunately was not covered under our insurance and the private entity that I asked for them to file it under delightfully said, no, thank you. So it is, unfortunately, this is a cost that needs to take place because it needs to be fixed. This is the first phase. This takes care of all the internal workings. Hopefully in a very near future meeting, I'll be bringing forward a quote to retrofit the dog houses that the HVAC units sit on, which is the point of infiltration that's been designated of where we're actually still having sporadic water infiltration. But moving forward with this quote, we'll start the demolition aspects, and then the roof will be on an upcoming agenda to approve that so that we don't fix something internally and still have it leak.
So are we, why would we start even fixing it until we have the?
You can
outside?
start the demolition. The demolition is gonna eat time. Right now, they have a hard date.
But we're not gonna like rebuild
No,
until the
nothing
roof
will
is
be
fixed.
rebuilt, but what we can do is all the ancillary precursory work of demolition.
So I guess I don't understand why our insurance wouldn't cover. this.
Well, then you'd have to sit down at a table and have a half-day conversation with me in private about that.
Well,
But they, the long and short is they
Yes, it
will
is.
not, because
It is
if they say
denied.
that the roof that was installed properly, best of luck to you.
improperly, you mean?
No, properly.
It was installed properly
Yeah, and henceforth, we were denied through our own insurance company.
for our own insurance.
So,
And the contractor who did the roof will not
Thank you.
turn it into his.
yeah. And no matter what, the work needs to be accomplished.
So is it the whole, like the
So
garage?
this
and
is,
the-
no, it wasn't in the
Okay.
garage because there's a knee wall on the roof that separates it from the living quarters. All the damages and the infiltration are principally in the living quarters. And so this is every room, as you see in the quote, with the exception of the bathroom, which through further inspection of the builder, that is a hard surface ceiling and did not have any issues, but this encompasses all from the chief's office all the way west into the living quarters.
Did we get
Yes, sir.
did we get an opinion from Tim on this, as to whether or not we have the to go?
I explored, I will say this, politically correct. I explored every available option that was given to us. This was conferred with by legal and by trustee Lappin. The reality is, this is,
So we're stuck with almost 19,000 plus some, it sounds like.
yeah,
Because we don't know what it's gonna cost.
we don't know what that cost is going to be yet. So, yes, Laura,
I'm just, is there a reason why we didn't get more than one quote?
because I can't find a contractor this is the only contractor that was able to give us a quote.
Okay.
I mean,
So we had.
I know they're busy.
Yeah.
I just wondered.
yep, no, he actually did this for insurance purposes. So this quote, actually, we actually got the chief's office, thrown into at the same quote, as originally provided. So this is for all internals, obviously, to preface the fact that this will actually, upon conclusion of this vote, which would be my recommendation, to utilize ARPA monies so that it's cost neutral to both general fund and public safety. But the demo would start right now. They have a tentative date to bring forward the finalization of the roof and exterior components on February 26th. So I'll be bringing that quote back to the board in a timely manner because the demo can happen. Once the roof is fixed, then he can actually finalize the interior work because I don't want to spend good money at bad and still have a leak. So therein, it is my recommendation to move forward with the quote and estimate prepared by Benjamin Builders for $18,843.40 to utilize ARPA.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion on the table. Is there support? Support. It's been moved and supported. Further discussion?
Yeah, my position is that yes, we should hire Benjamin Builders to do this if that's in the game of town, but I still don't like the fact that we're being let down by, I think, an insurance carrier, so, and or agent, so I'd like to
Yeah.
see that explored further.
No,
So it might,
you and
I was gonna vote no, but that doesn't make sense, so I think I'll vote for the motion, but still think I'm just gonna hang on to this for a while. I think we should look into it further.
Copy that. So we have a motion and support on the table. Seeing no further discussion, roll call. Please.
Treasurer Ellery Summers.
Yes.
Excuse me, trustee Kroll,
Yes.
Trustee Reiner.
Yes.
Trustee Polly.
Yes.
Clerk Palovich, yes. Supervisor Skibby.
Yes. The last item of business is, please grab your calendars and make note that, we have scheduled our budget workshops for March 6th and 7th with a contingent date of the 13th. All meetings to take place at 1 p.m. That's post lunch. That way we don't get started and have 1 hour into it, have to stop because stomachs are growling and move forward.
1 p.m.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah, my only problem is I'm on call, and I mean,
And if you
sometimes I have
have
to
to
miss, so, yeah.
not a problem, sir.
And on Tuesdays, well, it doesn't.
So with that being stated,
Do you have any idea how long we would meet? Would we meet more than 2 hours, do you think?
No, honestly, I think we're to a point where we have it so fine tuned that I'd be surprised if we need the second day.
Okay.
But I think to
Will
have
you-
a second day inherently back to back, that way it's still fresh in our minds. If
The
we
first
have,
one's March sixth.
the first one is March sixth.
Will you get us the proposed
Yep, I'll have
budget
it
a day, a
well-
week ahead of
Well,
time?
well
Okay.
ahead of time. So that way you can, if there's any questions, we can hammer them out by the time we get to sit down, but it's that way, and if we need a third date, I just put that out there. I don't think that we will. I think honestly, if we put our minds to it, 1 day is probably sufficient. Yeah, I know it is for all but potentially the public safety. But if we need to have further discussion and take it into a second day, just so we're not sitting 4 hours looking at numbers. I put, what was that?
What's the second day?
The seventh,
Okay.
the
It's right
sixth,
on your-
seventh, and then
It's on your-
the 13th as a potential. But the
Okay.
13th is, I think, a farce. I just wanted to give that as an option. All of which will take place at 1 P.M.
And you said you're buying lunch? Is that what you're saying?
So
Cash still owes us lunch from last year, if I remember correctly.
pretty soon he does. Thank you for pointing that out. Clerk
Are you
Palovich.
remembering that?
I totally clears
I
about.
haven't brought cookies in a
So,
while.
so this brings us into our agenda to the second public comment opportunity. If there's any public comment online, please use the bottom taskbar under the ellipsis to raise your hand or to shoot us a message. Seeing nothing online, no in person. Further discussion for the good of the order. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We got a motion and support. Further discussion? Seeing
We're
none,
gonna have-
all those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Meeting adjourned at 3:26.